Our scripture reading for today is John chapter 1, verses 26, 28 through 29. John answered them, saying, I baptize with water, but there standeth one among you whom you know not. These things were done in Bethabara beyond Jordan, where John was baptizing. The next day John saith Yahshua coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of Yah, which taketh away the sin of the world.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, Behold the Lamb of Yah.
oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh can join unto us here in Lithonia, Georgia. One of the things that is said in those oracles, let him that has an ear hear. And we understand that there are natural ears and then there are spiritual ears. Just reading the things that we read the other night, we understand that when that trumpet blows and even the dead will hear it, we know that all the dead ain't hearing it at the same time. Some people don't hear that till 1,000 years later. So it's the same when this word is spoken. There are some that hear this and some that hear that. What kind of ear does one have? I praise Yahweh for our choir, and that was a beautiful selection this morning. Praise Yahweh for that. But we have to ask ourselves, what? That's what we heard. What did somebody else hear? A lot of times what we hear, we know is based upon the things that we have gone through, and it affects our hearing spiritually. But that trumpet that we're waiting to hear is a trumpet that frees us. And if we don't really understand what the significance of these days are, we talk about being, free at a point. We talk about not having to go through all of the things that our people are enduring here in the daughter of Babylon. But there's a trumpet that frees us. See, the children of Israel moved. The children of Israel gather the children of Israel even offer their offerings by the sound of a trumpet. That shofar, we don't gather together in this room until the shofar blows. Now that's something that you guys and women who are here know that. The people on the internet and some of these individuals have been faithful for years. They have never heard that shofar blow. We don't come in this room until the trumpet blows. There are people who've been faithfully a part of this congregation 4, 5, 6 years. They have never heard that. And some of us hear it and take it for granted. And you get to hear something that other people who, in some cases, have been more dedicated than some of y'all who's sitting in here. And they've never heard it. And sometimes we can be around something so long that the value of it lessens. See, familiarity breeds contempt. So you get so familiar with something, it ain't that important. And somebody else would love to be sitting there, hear that shofar blow, and start walking toward the sanctuary. We're going to begin today's sermon in Exodus chapter 21. Exodus chapter 21, and we're going to read verses 1 through 8. You know, one of the things that we also read in dealing with Daniel and, you know, this judgment, dealing with the serpent, you find out that it is Dan who you always have to argue with somebody that he's put out of the 12 tribes. And you find out what the issue is. And most of the times, I realized later, most of the times it's some Gentiles that I end up having that discussion with. And it's because they don't want to have judgment. And Dan was known for bringing judgment. They want to get rid of judgment. So they need to get rid of Dan. And it's real easy to make you the only one that they want to accept as being a tribe of ethnically colored people is Dan. So that way they can go ahead and make you Dan and get rid of you at the same time. So they allow you to be one tribe and then get rid of you at the same time. That's the game the nations play. But Yahweh play by old rules. See, they keep changing the rules. And you know, you can always win the game if you keep changing the rule. If a touchdown ain't a touchdown, then you can always win the game, just keep changing the rule. But Yahweh's rules don't change like that. Exodus chapter 21, and let's go through verses 1 through 8.
Now these are the judgments which you shall set before them. If you buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve you, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him.
Now, this is something you have to think about, all right? So if you get in a situation where an individual has to be sold as a servant, it says 6 years is all that you can have a Hebrew serve. Now, you have to ask yourself, do you want to start a family in those years of servitude? You got to ask yourself a serious question at that point, because it gets deeper when you end up starting a family in the midst of that servitude. A lot of people might decide, you know what, I'm going to go in the military. They have to ask themselves a question. Am I going to start a family while I'm in this? Or I'm going to go ahead and finish my enlistment and then I'll start me a family. You have to ask yourself that question. Keep going.
If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's.
That's what you got to think about. Go ahead.
And he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free.
Right. So then it could be a way to keep you there by allowing you to have a family. Go ahead, here. You should like this woman here. Look at her. Ain't she nice? Remember, a brother went to serve 7 years for a wife. He ended up serving 20. Okay. Go ahead.
You know, even in that context, didn't he say these children are mine?
He sure did. He said, these are mine. And it seemed like he was just coming off the top till you read this law. And you're like, whoa. But Yaakov said, wait a minute now. I served you for those. See? You trying to play both sides of the rule. You playing both sides of the fence here. I served you for those. How you gonna tell me that I served for them and they still yours? And you done changed my wages 10 times. But they still yours? Go ahead.
Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever.
So the earring is the sign of a servant. We get earring because we just think we cute. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna look good with this one. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get me another one. You know what? I'm gonna get me one in my nose. You know what? Let me give me one in my lip.
We just get them all over the place. We don't know. We just get them because, they're cute. That's the sign of a servant. Why do you think when it was time to make that golden calf and it said they pulled out the earrings? They didn't pull out earrings of just no women. The men had earrings. The children had earrings. Everybody had earrings. How all these people come out with earrings? They was all servants. I don't say that to tell anybody not to wear no earring because, hey, we still servants. We servants of the Most High Elohim. You just need to understand who you are serving of. What does that ring signify that you wear? Go ahead.
And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. If she please not her master, who has betrothed her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed to sell her, to sell her unto a strange nation. He shall have no power, seeing he has dealt deceitfully with her.
All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 15. Deuteronomy chapter 15, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
Verse 1. At the end of every 7 years you shall make a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lends aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called Yahweh's release.
So, the chapter 7 bankruptcy that they have is based on Yahweh's release. This is where it comes from. And we've been, a Bible-believing people are the least amount of people who will go and file bankruptcy. We have too much pride to file bankruptcy. And the powers that be are laughing at us. While we struggling in debt, they take turns wiping out their debt. Go ahead.
Of a foreigner you may exact it again, but that which is yours with your brother your hand shall release. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for Yahweh shall greatly bless you in the land which Yahweh your El gives you for an inheritance to possess it. Only, if you carefully hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments which I command you this day, for Yahweh your El blesses you, as he promised you, and you shall lend on to many nations, but you shall not borrow, and you shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you. If there be among you a poor man of one of your brethren within any of your gates in your land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, you shall not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from your poor brother. But you shall open your hand wide unto him, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wants. Beware that there be not a thought in your wicked heart, saying, the seventh year of release is at hand, and your eye be evil against your poor brother, and you giveth him not, and he cry out unto Yahweh against you, and it be sin unto you.
Right, because at that point we've gotten accustomed to the gain that we were getting, and now we don't want to release the brother. Go ahead.
You shall surely give him, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give it unto him. Because that for this thing Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in all your works and in all that you put your hand unto.
Right. The problem is we're trying to get the blessing through our own means. He says, I'm going to bless you for releasing your brother. But we said, no. I've already seen the blessing that I get from having him as a servant. So I want to keep him as a servant. Yahweh said, I'm going to bless you if you let him go. The question is whether or not we believe Yahweh or whether we trust in what we can do with our own hands. Go ahead.
For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall open your hand wide unto your brother, to your poor and to your needy in your land. And if your brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto you and serve you 6 years, then in the 7th year you shall let him go free from you. And when you sendeth him out from you, you shall not let him go away empty. You shall furnish him liberally out of your flock, and out of your floor, and out of your winepress, of that wherewith Yahweh your Elohim has blessed you, you shall give unto him.
Right, and it makes sense why Yahweh said, go borrow our jewels of silver and gold of the Egyptians. When you don't consider this, you said, man, Yahweh making us take their stuff. No. Yahweh says it's time for you to be released. They need to bless you wholeheartedly. You have brought all kind of substance to their land. It's time for them to give you a piece of it on your way out. Remember, you play by the same rules. You have so many people that we read things about the he goats. They go as he goes before the flock. So people like, we need to go, and we need to go to this land, and we need to go to that land. Wait, hold on. You moving too early. First of all, we got to talk about us moving as a people, not as individuals. Any individual can go somewhere, okay? And let me tell you something. Those people of those countries will tolerate 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. As you start multiplying in somebody else's land, they're going to let you know you're a stranger. They're going to let you know you're a stranger. They might leave you alone for a little bit. And I don't care. It can be around here. Go too far up in other people's neighborhood. As long as everybody is doing fine, you okay. Let something come through and they start living hard, but your house still good. Let them be hungry and y'all still eating. Oh, they finna let you know. They about to let you know. You need to go look at some of them rosewoods in here. They didn't burn down. They'll call you lazy. They'll call you all of these things. They didn't burn down lazy people's house. They burned down the houses of the lawyers, the doctors, the dentists, the accountants, them, because they were living good. They said, no, y'all not going to live better than us. Okay? My most favorite line, they got a piano. I ain't even got a piano. Done deal. Y'all got to burn. This uppity knuckle got a piano. That man house had to burn. Why? Because he was living good in somebody else's area. They will ignore you for a while. And that's that thing. This is why we got to wait on the Spirit. You talking about hundreds of thousands of people in one area at one time. Oh no, they just not finna turn no blind eye. They said that your stuff is subject to be taken because they're hungry. What did they say in Egypt? You know, these people have grown greater and mightier than us. Let us deal wisely with them. They changed the rules. Once we got to a certain number, they changed the rules. And I think where we miss it is when we go places and it's one or two of us and they treat us nice. And we say, oh man, it was nice over there. Yeah, it was nice for y'all too. But when y'all two start multiplying, you about to see the real deal. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And you shall remember that you was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and Yahweh your Elohim redeemed you. Therefore I command you this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto you, I will not go away from you, because he loves you and your house, because he is well with you, then you shall take an awl, and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be your servant forever. And also unto your maidservant you shall do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto you when you send him away free from you.
All right, now this is the part where he starts dealing with your heart. It shall not seem hard unto you. There's a part where you have to start dealing with yourself. There's a part where you got to have your own come to Yahshua moment, and nobody should have to really tell you that. But even if somebody have to tell you, it might be somebody in your family. Look, I can tell you how you're moving. You tripping. I can tell you contemplating not letting this man go. You need to stop them thoughts you got. You need to follow this the dictates of this law that was given unto us. It's time for him to go free. See, this is how a house take care of itself. See, this might be the woman talking to her husband. That's the conversation when you got a good woman. When you got one of them nims, one of them nims are telling you, I mean, look, he don't deserve no freedom. I mean, look at it. I mean, that third year, he didn't really work that much. So I say that this year is like a repeat of the third. Man, she helping to convince you to do wrong. That's a woman that tears down her house. Because you may get that increase this year. But Yahweh going to come and take double that away from you. Go ahead.
Isn't that sort of the thought process that the nations use to justify their slavery? Well, they were running around butt naked in loincloths before we
helped them out.
Right.
That's why they don't want us to have any true black history. Because you may find out, wait. Our existence didn't start with you enslaving us. There was an existence before that. But they have to tell the narrative that they did us a favor. You know? And we buy it. Go ahead.
For he has been worth a double hired servant to you, in serving you 6 years. And Yahweh Elohim shall bless you in all that you doeth. All the firstling males that come out of your herd and of your flock, you shall sanctify unto Yahweh your El. You shall do no work with the firstling of your bullock, nor share the firstling of your sheep.
Right. These things are set apart. This is the beginning of your increase. The beginning of your increase is set apart unto Yahweh. And we find that hard for us to do, especially in this day and time. You know, you get your check and FICA done already been in it. You know, you like, I don't even know what the firstling is, because the first was already taken out before I got out. I'm the second. But when Yahweh gave this to us, we didn't have nothing else coming out. And we still found it hard to keep it. In your own land with no mortgage. And we still complaining. Bro, your land paid for. See, sometimes when you have something so long, the worth of it goes down. If our forefathers would see us now and be like, wait. So you mean you got to pay for the land over and over? No, but I mean you paid for the land one time. So wait a minute. So after you pay for the land, there's still tax on the land? And even if you paid for the land, they can take the land back for the tax? They would be mesmerized. But they didn't respect the life that we had. Go ahead.
You shall eat it before Yahweh your Elohim year by year in the place which Yahweh shall choose, you and your household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, you shall not sacrifice it unto Yahweh your Elohim.
The same way we're supposed to do when we have works to do. And if that work has any kind of blemish in it, we ain't supposed to offer it unto Yahweh. Go ahead.
You shall eat it within your gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only you shall not eat the blood thereof. You shall pour it upon the ground as water.
All right. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 25. See, understanding that the children of Israel move by the trumpet. We do everything by the blowing of this shofar. Then when you talk about all the camps moving when the shofar is blown, you have to understand then what's happening spiritually when it's time for Israel to go home. There's a trumpet that's going to be blown. Leviticus chapter 25, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Shabbat unto Yahweh. 6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard, and gather the fruit thereof.
Right. And this is always the chapter that you want to go to whenever you get with those moving Sabbath people, or those people who have a calendar that they say come from a man. Tell me how you count years. Don't tell me about the moon of the no day and the day zero and the sliver and all. I don't want to hear nothing about that. Tell me how you count your years. Because the way he give his days is the same way he deal with his years. This is where the question comes in when people start getting into all this so-called deeper knowledge. Oh, this is deep right here, bro. Yeah, you so deep you can't come out of that hole. Go ahead.
But in the 7th year shall be a Shabbat of rest unto the land, a Shabbat for Yahweh. You shall neither sow your field nor prune your vineyard. That which grows of its own accord of your harvest you shall not reap, neither gather the grapes of your vine undressed, for it is a year of rest unto the land. And the Shabbat of the land shall be meat for you, and for your servant, and for your maid, and for your hired servant, and for your stranger that sojourns with you, and for your cattle, and for the beasts that are in your land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. And you shall number 7 Shabbats of years unto you, 7 times 7 years. And the space of 7 Shabbats of years shall be unto you 49 years.
It's perfect math right here. It's perfect math. Go ahead.
Then shall you cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound
The trumpet of the Jubilee to sound. Go ahead.
on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall you make the trumpet sound throughout all your land.
All right, so when the trumpet of the Jubilee blows, something happens. Go ahead.
And you shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man unto his possession, and you shall return every man unto his family.
Every man is supposed to return unto his land when the trumpet of the Jubilee sounds. We move by the trumpet. But this is going to be a special trumpet. The Jubilee trumpet sends everybody home. This is what Yahshua blows. It's a priest that blows the trumpet whenever something holy is about to go down. Our God, King, High Priest, gonna blow the trumpet, and when he does that, then it's time for Israel to go home. So when people tell me they going here and they going there, hey, I hope you're doing everything. Go. Maybe the Spirit has you to do reconnaissance. But understand, when it goes down, he says an army, not you and your cousin them. So he's got to do this with all of Israel. So when this trumpet blows, then Israel gonna start feeling it. This is when the nations gonna want to thrust you out. You ain't gotta ask no question. I wonder if we know they gonna get out. Go ahead.
A jubilee shall that 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which grows of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of your vine undressed.
Why do you think to this day how man deals with things? They mark the 50th year very special. People celebrate their 50th birthday better than any other birthday. Y'all know we got certain way mark. Y'all know we party hard when we turn 21.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Jim, I can get a drink legally?
Oh, we can't wait. We go right up to the bar. Got one shred of hair right there under our nose. Hoping that they caught us. Hoping. We give them the lightest voice. Yes, sir. I was like a cognac. Oh, you want to see my life? Bam! There it is. We can't wait to show it. Because we legal now. Well, once you get to 50, we're talking about, look at how Yahweh had set 50. He says it's a jubilee. Every man is returned to his possession. What else happens at 50 for priests?
Retirement.
He's an elder. He is retired from physical labor. Yahweh has set forth 50 as a special time set. Here is this jubilee. When he blow that, everybody get to go back to their land. So now we have to add up. How many 50s we been here? Well, that's how much judgment the nations got to deal with. Even though, because see, Yahweh will turn around and punish you. Then punish the people that he used to punish you. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 12. For it is the Jubilee. It shall be holy unto you. You shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of this Jubilee, you shall return every man unto his possession. And if you sell aught unto your neighbor, or buy aught of your neighbor's hand, you shall not oppress one another. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, you shall buy of your neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruits, he shall sell unto you. According to the multitude of years, you shall increase the price thereof, and according to the fewness of years, you shall diminish the price of it. For according to the number of the years of the fruits, does he sell unto you.
Right. So then it's sold unto the year Jubilee. They called them Indians. They said that them Indians had a way of doing it. They said them Indian givers. You know, they sold the stuff and then they wanted it back. Wait a minute. They said, you know, we was selling the use of the land. You can't own our land. The Indians didn't understand who they were going in business with. And every country who don't understand who they doing business with, see, the Africans thought that they understood who they were doing business with. Yeah, we'll sell the Hebrews. Yeah, they didn't know they were next. They didn't understand who they was in business with. They thought they got over. All right. You don't understand. And then they double back and say, you know what? Now we won't. Yeah, thank you for selling us those people. But you know what? Now we want the land too. No. The land not for sale. No, I don't think you understand what we're saying to you. I don't think you understand what we're saying. We wasn't asking you for the land. We telling you that we're taking it. To this day, all of the resources that the entire world uses to make these phones that we can't stay off of, all that coming out of Africa, and the Africans can't make nothing. Africans have been banned from manufacturing anything, though everything that's made on the planet has to come from Africa. All of the resources come from Africa. These batteries for all these electric cars, the screens for the phones, everything comes from there. But they will not allow them to manufacture it. They didn't understand who they were doing business with. Ain't nothing worse than being in business and not understand who you in business with. They didn't understand who they were doing business with. With all those resources, I'm talking about the richest continent on the face of the earth, and it's the poorest one. And it's like that for a reason, because they need to never find out or recognize that they are the richest. They need to stay poor. They got little kids, the same kind of kids that are playing in the back on the swing. They got them crawling up in little bitty dog holes, mining. No protection. These little kids' fingers are ate up. They got cancer before they get to be a teenager. Right. But they in the richest land, richest continent. Go ahead, bro.
You shall not therefore oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Yahweh, your El. Wherefore you shall do my statutes and keep my judgments and do them, and you shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield her fruit, and you shall eat your fill and dwell therein in safety. And if you shall say, what shall we eat the 7th year? Behold, we shall not sow nor gather in our increase. Then will I command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years.
Now, do we believe Yahweh? See, because if you don't believe him, then you're going to try to make this happen yourself. And when you try to make it happen yourself, this is where you're going to have a problem with your Elohim. I used to wonder why it seemed like it was just a free get out of war pass. When Yahweh said, find those who are afraid. When you get ready to go to war, find those who are afraid, pull them out from among you. Wait a minute, but we going to war. You gonna leave the chickens at the house? No, this did not sound fair to me. But he said, all right, but see, at least their hearts get faint, and then they gonna spread that chicken heart to all the rest of your people. Now, he didn't say what all was gonna happen after that, but they got to pay for not going. But you know what we worried about? Wait a minute, you mean tell me I'm finna go off to war and you gonna leave this chicken with my hand? I swear, for God, better not be no eggs when I come back. Read, bro.
And you shall sow the 8th year, and eat yet of old fruit until the 9th year. Until her fruits come in, you shall eat of the old store. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. For you are strangers and sojourners with me.
Right. So we and oh my God, we find this so difficult. Okay, the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. All right. We have been tricked on home ownership is the best, way of blah blah blah. Okay. All right. Get that. Our problem is, for me to own it, it must be in my name. Okay. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. So then that means you are a authorized user of the land. So basically then, so if you set up a trust and then the trust owns the land, but you have all the usage of the land, it's not per se in your name, but you have usage of the land. That's exactly what Yahweh just said. That means when somebody comes for you, they can't get the land because the land belongs to the trust. Who's the trust? Yahweh. He said, land mine. Yeah, I heard you did something stupid. They can't get the land mine. Okay. Message, pick up, read, bro.
And in all the land of your possession you shall grant a redemption for the land. If your brother be waxen poor, and has sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which his brother sold. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possession. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that has bought it until the year of Jubilee. And in the Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possession. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year after it is sold. Within a full year may he redeem it. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out in the Jubilee.
So here in Georgia, I don't know about other states, but if there's an abandoned property, you go and pay the taxes on it. You wait 1 year. If nobody says anything, you now own that property. You might not have paid but $400, but nobody says anything in that year. That property, everything, the structure that's on it, the land, all of it is now yours. 1 year. Read.
But the houses of the villages which have no wall round about them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilee. Notwithstanding, the cities of the Levites and the houses of the cities of their possession may the Levites redeem at any time. And if a man purchase of the Levites, then the house that was sold and the city of his possession shall go out in the year of Jubilee. For the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if your brother be waxen poor, and fallen in decay with you, then you shall relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with you. Take you no interest of him or increase, but fear your Elohim, that your brother may live with you. You shall not give your money upon interest, nor lend him your victuals for increase.
Now, we find that difficult. But let me tell you something. These other nations, this is how they deal with one another. They charge us interest. They don't charge the interest to each other. But then we deal with each other, and we putting on that IRS kind of interest. We compounding on our brother. We jumping off, the top rope like we Ric Flair. We gonna superfly snook our brother. Come on, man. You ain't supposed to hit me with that kind of interest. What you doing? Then you go and find out that those other nations, they got meetings and dealings that you're not even allowed to go in because you're not of the same ethnicity as them. They have diamond marks that only the Ish can go in. You can't go in because you're not one of them. There's no paper in the building. All the diamond agreements are made by the shaking of a hand. No money exchanges. So now I owe you. It might be $1 million deals. They agree with a handshake. And how much gets paid is the exact amount, no interest. But let you go. Your deal ain't even made that day. They tell you, saying, go home. Let us think about it. Go ahead.
I am Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your El. And if your brother that dwells by you be waxen poor, and be sold unto you, you shall not compel him to serve as a bond servant, but as an hired servant, and as a sojourner. He shall be with you, and shall serve you unto the year of Jubilee.
So then there's levels then. And verse 39, and if your brother that dwells by you be waxen poor, and be sold unto you, you shall not compel him to serve as a bond servant, but as a hired servant. So there's levels of servitude. Go ahead.
And then shall he depart from you, both he and his children with him. And
Wait a minute now. Wait. Now, but as a hired servant and as a sojourner, he shall be with you. He shall serve you unto the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from you, he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, because it's the Jubilee. And unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. Go ahead.
And shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For there are many servants.
For they are my
servants, pardon me. For they are my servants.
They're not your servants. You might have had them serve, but do understand, just like the land is really mine and I'm giving you use of it, all right? He is the trust owner. You might be a trustee. You might be allowed to use this land, but it's conditional. Okay? And if we understood that concept, we might have been better off. But because we really didn't understand that concept, once we saw our name on the piece of paper, we said, oh, it's done deal. It's our stuff. We didn't really understand. No. It's see, I own that name. I know you think that's yours. See, I know you think Esaac ben Israel is your name. No, that's my name. Now that's me. Now I own this. You are a authorized user. But if you step out of line, then the trust owner takes care of that business so that his stuff can keep going. We didn't understand that it was all his stuff. Go ahead.
For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. You shall not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear your Elohim. Both your bondmen and your bondmaids, which you shall have shall be of the heathen that are round about you. For them shall you buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by you, and your brother that dwells by him wax poor, and sell himself on to the stranger or sojourner by you, or to the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. Either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is near of kin unto him of his family may redeem him. Or if he be able, he may redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him that bought him from the year that he was sold to him unto the year of Jubilee.
Now, this is a stranger, but you have certain rights here unto the year of Jubilee. But what if that stranger don't understand our culture? Then that means it's something you need to be considering before you enter into a business covenants with individuals. See, we get into covenants. We get into relationships. We get into all that. We don't ask them people no questions. Then we want to talk about the rules of engagement as it pertains to our God. That sounds like to me you late for that. Go ahead.
And the price of his sale shall be according unto the number of years. According to the time of an hired servant shall it be with him. If it yet be many years behind, according unto them, he shall give him again the price of his redemption out of the money that was bought for him. And if there remain but few years unto the year of Jubilee, then he shall count with him, and according to unto his years shall he give him again the price of his redemption. And as a yearly hired servant shall he be with him, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in your sight. And if he be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
I am Yahweh, your Elohim. And he says, and if it be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee. So this Jubilee trumpet sets forth liberty all across our land. But understanding that the things that we go through affects how and what we hear. When we talk about this Jubilee, this trumpet of the Jubilee, then we're talking about liberty. Liberty is freedom. But it's hard to discuss freedom with someone who has stuck captivity in their brain. Can you even have, this is how sometimes you end up casting your pearls before swine, because you're talking to somebody about liberty, but captivity has them to where that they can't hear the frequency of the words that proceed out of your mouth. Captivity has hurt them too bad for them to even discuss liberty. You're talking to them about liberty and all they can think about is captivity. All they can think about is all the things that they lost in captivity. And you talking about liberty. They can't hear you. Go ahead, brother.
You know, when you look at the end of verse 53, it goes to show you that where Moshe's heart was, even sitting in luxury. And it says, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in your sight. Moshe said, nah, it's not going to happen.
Right. So you going to sit back and watch this? They didn't expect us to go, hey, no. I buy my brother back. So no, you're not going to do that. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 34. You have to understand now, the nations don't necessarily like this Jubilee trumpet now. Because I mean, hey, we made a lot of money off these slaves. It might trip you out to go and see some of that Confederate money and see them black people on it. I thought you hated these people. Why do you people on the money? But them people is money. Jeremiah, we're going to go to, Jeremiah 34. And started at verse 6.
Then Jeremiah the prophet spake all these words unto Zedekiah, king of Yehudah, in Jerusalem. When the king of Babylon's army fought against Jerusalem and against all the cities of Yehudah that were left, against Lachish and against Azekah, for these defense cities remained of the cities of Yehudah. This is the word that came unto Jeremiah from Yahweh, after that the king Zedekiah had made a covenant with all the people which were at Jerusalem to proclaim liberty unto them. That every man should let his manservant and every man his maidservant, being in Hebrew or in Hebrewess, go free. That none should serve himself of them, to wit, of a Yehudi his brother. Now when all the princes and all the people which had entered into the covenant heard that every one should let his manservant and every one his maidservant go free, that none should serve themselves of them any more, then they obeyed and let them go. But afterward they turned and caused the servants and the handmaids whom they had let go free to return, and brought them into subjection for servants and for handmaids.
Right. So when them people turn around and say, we abolish slavery, and then turn around and set up sharecropping and turned it right back into a different slavery, Yahweh was like, no, I'm just giving you the fruits of your labor. No, this is what you did. So I'm finna have it done to you. So much, in fact, that we celebrate a day called Juneteenth. They said we were free. When? It was in the 10th of June. What? These folks don't even know they free. They don't even know they ain't supposed to be slaves no more. Somebody got to come tell that y'all know it's over, right? What? When? They always say, no. See, you turn around, you let them go, and then turn around and want them and made them service again. All right, here go your turn. The people let us go and then turn around and found enough, and they still doing the same thing. All they do is change the laws all over and over again, because even when they say you free, you are free except if you commit a crime. So what do? Make so many laws that every which way we are criminals. And then they make it look like, you just so bad. Yo, people are criminals. The laws were made specifically to make sure that we are criminals, because the only way to keep us enslaved is if we are criminals. That's the little clause in their liberty. Their liberty had a clause. And they've been ruling over us since the day that they did that little clause. But this time they get to rule over us and act like they're doing good. Prisons are owned privately. And everything you do in prison, you got to spend money. Get to fight, you got to pay money. You want to go to the doctor, you got to pay the money. What you want to eat? What you want to eat? Oh, we ain't got enough. We ain't got enough. I mean, we give you a little. We got a little food. But when people come for that visitation, they got that vending machine over there. Got $3 Snicker bars in it. You would have to see your family. You so happy, saying Junebug ain't seen you in so long. I'm glad to drive by. I see you, Junebug. I want Junebug keep talking to you. Junebug, you want one of them Snicker bars? Junebug eat by 8 of them Snicker bars before you leave. What? Junebug? 8 times 3. Junebug, you done ate $24 worth of Snickers. But see, they starved him out right before visitation. See, oh, you got somebody coming? Yeah, make sure he miss child. Make sure he miss child. Why? Because I'm going to use the feelings of the people who visit him. See, I don't worry about him. He ain't going nowhere. I got him. No, I'm going to use the feeling strings of his family. They going to come and they going to reach deep in it. They going to look in his eyes and say, he want that Snicker bar. This is when you remember every commercial. Chocolate, caramel, and nougat. But you know all the ingredients. Right. These people knew exactly what they're doing when they're ruling over us. And they setting up plans and we falling right into it. They have certain schools that are set. Certain number of people from these schools. Certain schools are set as school to prison pipeline. Almost everybody from this school gonna end up in prison. You go to the school and the school look like prison. I was going to schools and I looked up and I said, this looks just like jail. Come to figure out, where did most of the people from that school end up? In jail. It was one of those schools. It was a school to prison pipeline school. You go 5 miles down the street, it's a totally different kind of school. What just happened? It's not one of those prison pipeline schools. See, you might have to drive around and you know what, I don't want to get up early every morning to take you to school, Junebug, but I think I'm going to have to, because I went down there. That's one of those prison pipeline schools in there. See, when you go in there and ain't no lights in the front, you might be standing in the prison pipeline school. You need to, hey man, why ain't no lights in here? Why y'all think I be tripping when I come in here and they like, man, we don't like to have the lights on in the front. I come right in the front door. Hey man, turn these lights on. Turn these lights on. First prison pipeline school I seen, it was just like that. Dark in the front. Turn these lights on. We paid our bill. Turn the lights on. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 12. For the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus says Yahweh, the El of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondmen, saying, At the end of 7 years, let you go every man his brother in Hebrew, which has been sold unto you. And when he has served you 6 years, you shall let him go free from you. But your fathers hearkened not unto me, neither inclined their ear. And you were now turned, and had done right in my sight, in proclaiming liberty, every man to his neighbor. And you had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. But you turned and polluted my name, and caused every man his servant, and every man his handmaid, whom you had set at liberty at their pleasure, to return, and brought them into subjection, to be unto you for servants and for handmaids. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, you have not hearkened unto me in proclaiming liberty, every one to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, says Yahweh, to the sword, to the pestilence, and to the famine.
I don't think I want to be free to that, Yahweh. That it don't sound like freedom. He said, I proclaim freedom to you. You free to the sword, you free to pestilence, and you free to famine. There it is. Judgment. Go ahead.
And I'll make you to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Right. So when people start telling me how,
Our people have been in this land for generations. We are authentic Hebrews.
I found a problem with that. Then when people tell me that all the Jews came from one place, I got a problem with that. Because it don't fit nothing in this book. I got a problem with that. And I don't seem to be the only one. The problem with that, the prophets don't agree with that. Go ahead.
And I'll give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in two and passed between the parts thereof, the princes of Yehuda and the princes of Jerusalem, the eunuchs and the priests, and all the people of the land, which passed between the parts of the calf, I will even give them into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life. And their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of the heaven, and to the beasts of the earth.
So what he's saying, he says, their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls. It is judgment to not be buried. So when they hung us on the tree and left us there, to the point where they have to make songs to talk about strange fruit that hang from trees, with their eyes bulging and the birds come and pick at their flesh. Here we go. Yahweh said, no. This is your judgment for walking against my law. But then we'll think, man, I'm just going through a lot of bad luck right now. No, you're going through a lot of bad judgment. Go ahead.
And Zedekiah king of Yehuda and his princes will I give into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life, and into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which are gone up from you. Behold, I will command, says Yahweh, and cause them to return to this city, and they shall fight against it, and take it, and burn it with fire, and I'll make the cities of Yehuda a desolation without an inhabitant.
All right. So let's go to, I want to go to Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. So Yahweh ends up in his own time now giving us the fruits of our own labor. That's why I tell people, hey, when you're young, you want to do this and that, yeah, go ahead and do what you got to do. But understand that life is a circle, which means you're going to travel this street again. But you're going to be on the passenger side when you come back. Now, you were driving when you went around the first time. The second time you come by, you're going to be in the passenger seat. And you're going to have to deal with all that stuff you did when you were driving. So drive your car however you want to drive. Just understand. You're going to hit it again. Ezekiel chapter 36, let's start at verse 1.
Also, you son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, You mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus says the Adonai Yah, because the enemy has said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, Thus says the Adonai Yah, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and you are taken up in the lips of talkers and are an infamy of the people.
Are we not still to this day? Everybody talk about you in their living room. When the news come on, you the topic.
Look at all those criminals.
We even watch when the hurricanes come. They got certain names for our people.
Look at them, they looting.
The Gentiles had to go get food and they had to get them a boat. They said they commandeered it. I said, wow, that's deep. So one of them is listed as a hero, and the other one, no matter what he does, he is still listed as a criminal. He looted, but the other one commandeered. Wow. Go ahead.
Therefore, you mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Adonai Yahweh. Thus says the Adonai Yah, to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus says the Adonai Yah, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to case it out of it for a prey.
Right. You got to understand, if the neighboring countries are looking and saying, look, I know how Yahweh punishes these people. They were set to be servants. So I'm watching how they're operating. Yahweh is about to bring judgment on these people. And when he does, we going in and we taking that land. It ain't but so long you can leave a house empty before squatters come. They look and they say, man, look, there ain't nobody in there. Don't nobody ever come over there. You know, I'm just going to go over there and cut the grass. Or they cutting the grass and keep looking in the window. Oh, they starting to desire your place. Sooner or later, they in your place. Now it's very hard to get squatters out. They got squatters' rights. They say, oh, no. This person has been in the land. Possession is 9/10 of the law. They say, no, we here. We done built this in it. We got water running. We got electricity. It's our land. Now you got to fight to prove that it's yours. You can't even get them out your own land. Why? Because they've been squatting in it. Where were you? Oh, well, I was getting judged from my Elohim. Oh, okay, I see. Go ahead.
End of verse 5, to cast it out for a prey. Verse 6, prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus says the Adonai Yah, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore thus says the Adonai Yah, I have lifted up mine hand, surely the heathen are about you, they shall bear their shame. But you, O mountains of Israel, you shall shoot forth your branches, and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. For, behold, I am for you, and I'll turn unto you, and you shall be tilled and sown. And I'll multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited, and the ways shall be built. And I'll multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bring fruit. And I will settle you after your old estate.
I will settle you after your old estates. You already got a piece of property. You just don't know it. Go ahead.
And will do better unto you than at your beginning.
Right. Yahweh may judge you and take from you. But when you walk the way you're supposed to walk, he give you everything that he took from you, and he give it to you even better than it was when he took it. Go ahead.
And you shall know that I am Yahweh. Yes, I will cause men to walk upon you, even my people Israel, and they shall possess you, and you shall be their inheritance. And you shall no more henceforth bereave them of men. Thus says the Adonai Yah, because they say unto you, you land devoureth up men, and has bereaved your nations. Therefore you shall devour men no more, neither bereave your nations any more, says the Adonai Yah. Neither will I cause men to hear in you the shame of the heathen any more, neither shall you bear the reproach of the people any more, neither shall you cause your nations to fall any more, says the Adonai Yah. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their own doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman.
Right. Now, if you don't understand what that is, now you got to understand, most of the New Testament readers don't even understand what is he talking about. A removed woman is set apart from all the holy gatherings and things that take place. When a woman is going through her cleansing, she's away from those holy things. Yet, these New Testament people got churches led by women pastors. So the woman sitting at the altar, and she's supposed to be removed for uncleanness, yet she's standing there in her uncleanness, teaching, and men in the audience. Go ahead.
Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries, according to their way and according to their doings, I judged them.
Right. So how all these people come out of the same place? And Yahweh said, I disperse. When he says, I made you to be a servant, you're going to either serve me or you're going to serve other nations. So when they were dispersed, they're going to end up being in servitude. I find it very interesting that these people are coming out of places, but they wasn't in servitude, and they all keep coming out the same place. How is that possible? Somebody lying. Go ahead.
And when they entered onto the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, These are the people of Yahweh, and are gone forth out of his land.
Right. And one of our questions not too long ago in Bible study was, how do you blaspheme his holy name? What do you say? When they entered into the heathen, whether they went, they profaned my holy name. How? When they said, these are the children of Israel. So all they had to do was live not according to what's written. That's how you blaspheme his name. His name is attached to you. Go ahead.
But I had pity for mine holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, whither they went. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus says the Adonai Yah, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which you have profaned among the heathen, whither you went.
So then you got to think about the power of the name then. The name is so powerful that Yahweh said, I will come and save you, but not even for you. I'm doing this to preserve the holiness of my name. Do you understand the power of the name that you have? Go ahead.
And I'll sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which you have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, says the Adonai Yah, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I'll take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and bring you into your own land.
Right. For I will take you. So when we start dealing with being like a he-goat before the flock, when we talk about all of these things that have to happen, wait a minute. I will take you from the heathen and gather you out of the countries. This is not one by one. It's going to take us 1,000,000 years if we're going to go one by one. That means he's going to cause some things to happen in these countries. We're talking multiple countries that are like, we don't want these people here no more. I think I heard a trumpet. Go ahead.
That was countries with an S, right?
Countries with an S.
Not country.
Exactly. So there couldn't have been no Jubilee trumpet that was blown in 1948. According to my book, they ain't coming out of one place. Go ahead.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I'll take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I'll give you an heart of flesh.
Right. If he give you a heart of flesh, then you're going to be able to receive his law. Go ahead.
And I'll put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I'll be your Elohim. I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I'll call for the corn and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I'll multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that you shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen.
So when you talk about a reproach of famine, that's a part of judgment. You should watch some of these programs when they talk about a food desert that exists in the hood, where when you get to certain ethnic communities, ain't no grocery stores. Only them mom and pop stores that sell junk. You can walk down the street and get some hot fries. You can go get some Cheetos and malt liquor. But you can't find no apples and green peppers. Food desert. They put famine in the middle of our neighborhood. There's certain neighborhoods that the grocery stores just start closing down. And you got to go 8, 9, 10 blocks to get to a grocery store. People don't understand what that means. Once a certain level of transportation is shut down, if you got to go 20 blocks to get an egg, you probably not going to get that egg. Go ahead.
You know, brother, if you look at verse 27, he says, and I'll put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments. This is the children of Israel after they've been redeemed out of all the countries. Right? In 1948, they were supposed to be redeemed out of the country. I think what did he forget to put his spirit within them? And because he also says you should not mistreat a stranger because you know the ways of a stranger.
Exactly.
So obviously number 27 didn't happen in 1948.
Absolutely not. Because the way in which strangers are treated over there, I'm telling you, you can't even go too far. You got to come back for roll call. It says, you know the heart of a stranger, for you were a stranger. Man, you can tell, for you were a servant. You can tell, no, these wasn't no servants. See, I watch how anybody can come and be in our neighborhood. As long as they don't bother us, we don't ask them no questions. White people, Africans, Mexicans, everybody can move in our neighborhood. We don't bother nobody. Long as you don't come in our neighborhood and decide you're going to tell us that we can't be in our neighborhood, we'll leave you alone. And we've always had, saying you gotta have, what's the politically correct word for those lovers of themselves? Them peoples. The pronouns. They've always come to our neighborhood. We didn't bother them people, as long as they ain't met with us. You go to the wrong neighborhood and you the only chocolate chip and there's a sea of vanilla in there and you the only they gonna let you know first day. You in their neighborhood. They gonna let you know. We don't bother nobody. Go over to Israel and go to the wrong place. You're going to want to go back to the project where it's safe. And see, the Christians thought they was immune to this. And now they done start attacking Christians straight off. Go over there with a Bible in your hand and the Israelis going off. Been taking their money for decades. Generations taking their money. Now they going off. I'm talking about straight attacking him. There's a video where the Gentile is trying to talk. They attacking her at the mall. Throwing stuff at the camera. They said, no. Your culture don't belong here. I guess they say, hey, we got enough money. But this place sends millions per day. Millions per day. But what has changed in the world view now that they believe it's okay to now show their true self? Folks don't show their true self unless they believe you finna fall or they got everything they need from you. Up until that point, they keep playing the game. Something they believe is about to go down. Go ahead.
And I'll multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that you shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Then shall you remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your lawlessness and for your abominations.
If you loathe yourselves, then you realize the level of your wrongdoing. Go ahead.
Not for your sakes do I this, says the Adonai. Be it known unto you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. Thus says the Adonai. In the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your lawlessness, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and the waste shall be built, and the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that pass by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden, and the waste and desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and are inhabited.
Right. I know a lot of people, look and they said, this is how, the Holy Land look. No. That's how it look when they in it. You ever look sometime and look at Egypt and be like,
Man, how somebody rule anything with all this doggone sand? This place look horrible.
that ain't what it looked like before. So when people look at, the Holy Land and they see how it look, understand, that ain't how it gonna look when you get there. You gonna see colors you ain't never seen before when you get there. See, the earth is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. That ground said, man, I ain't, I got pretty colors I can show, but I ain't showing it now. I'm waiting for the sons to come back home. So when the sons come back home, I'm gonna show my colors, but not right now. Go ahead.
Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahweh, built the ruined places and plant that was desolate. I, Yahweh, have spoken it, and I will do it. Thus says the Adonai. I will yet for this be inquired of by the house of Israel to do it for them. I'll increase them with men like a flock, as the holy flock, as the flock of Jerusalem in her solemn feasts. So shall the waste cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahweh.
And understand, it is the multitude of men that the nations are afraid of. From the beginning, what they said, kill all the men children, leave the women alive. You don't understand what he just said there. People say, well, what, ain't gonna be no women? The women they've never been afraid of. They always use the women against us. It's the men that they're afraid of. 10 sisters at a corner store don't bother nobody. 10 brothers at the corner store, the SWAT team might show up. It's always been you that they had a problem with. Understand that. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50.
Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 1. The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet.
Now, this is one of the things that I tell people why, the job of a prophet is a very dangerous job. All he doing is going and proclaiming destruction.
Thus says Yahweh. He gonna pick you up, slam you on your head, drag your face all the way down to the mountain, kick you, turn you over, spit on you, grab dirt, throw it in your eye.
This what you came to tell me? And now you got people, I'm standing in the room of a prophet. I don't think you understand prophecy, brother. This is the most dangerous job in town. And folk think anybody who can read is a prophet. Boy, this is a dangerous job. Go ahead.
Declare you among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Murdoch is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Go ahead.
In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Yehudah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh their El.
Wait a minute. In those days and in that time. See, even the removing has a time on it. And it's not a few individuals doing this. No. We're talking about a great judgment where many people are then moving. Go ahead.
They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward,
Now,
saying,
if they was already there, already always been in the land, why they got to ask how to get there? Go ahead.
Come and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them.
Right. They got devoured by that prophecy doctrine. That prophet, the prophets for hire. If you pay $1,000, you get a personal prophecy. Like when they can tell you exactly how much to give. Oh, I know, I feel it. There's somebody in here with $2,000. We got devoured. And some of us love to have it so. See, we'd actually, if we did that kind of mess, we wouldn't have no room in here. It'd be wall to wall. Folks be fighting to get in the door. I got my $1,000, pre. I'm ready for my personal prophecy. Right. Folk flock to mess. Go ahead.
And their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against Yahweh.
What you said earlier? We offend not. We ain't did nothing wrong. No, we can do wrong to these people. These people deserve wrong. Go ahead.
The habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flock. For, lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country.
Let me tell you something. They're getting themselves ready. They are getting themselves ready. They setting up their own currency. They are getting ready to make that move. And folks have spent their whole existence having an issue with us. The judgment that you're going to get ain't coming from us. You can follow me to my car all you want. You can follow me in the store. Sir, can I help you? No, but I'll let you know when you can. The judgment ain't going to come from us. The judgment ain't going to come from nobody that look like us. You can follow me all you want. It's all them folk you done gave all that money to. All them folk that you done gave all your chief time. Them the folk that gonna get you. Not me. Go ahead.
And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
What Yahweh's saying is they gonna be so good, they gonna close their eyes and shoot. And everything they shoot at gonna get hit. And they can't even figure out, I shot this way and that guy died. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I'm so good, it scares me. Right, right. Y'all be like, I'm going to make sure not now one of their bullets miss. You understand how terrible that is? We know, even when we hear about a shootout in the hood, they tell you it was 50 shots. But 2 people got shot. Like, these dudes didn't know what the hell they was doing. They let off 50 rounds. And then but 2 people get, and it was none of the people they was aiming at. It was like an old lady and a kid down the street. That kid wasn't even there. How you get shot? Yahweh said, I'm going to make sure that none of their arrows come back void. They going to let go 50 rounds, and 50 people going to have holes in them. That like never happens. At that rate, destruction is on swole. I mean, I'm talking, they can shoot in the air, it come back down and hit somebody. That's when you know, oh, judgment is against them. We can't even do no wrong. Go ahead.
And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, says Yahweh. Because you are glad, because you rejoice, O you destroyers of mine heritage, because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
Wait a minute. As he punished it started then looking like Egypt. The renowned pride and power of Egypt is gone. Oh, he changed the land. Now the land look different. He says, your mother shall be sore confounded. We know that this land was birthed out of another one. Go ahead.
Because of the anger of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goes by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues.
Let me tell you something. It is amazing that people talk about how great this place is, but understand in a grand scheme, it never belonged to anybody. There's a thing where people migrated to this land. So when he says that everybody go back to the land that they came from, when you get down to it, he can destroy this place and everybody still go back where they came from. See, if he turned around and said, I'm going to destroy China. Wait a minute, no, there's people from there. That land, that's land that's ordained for those people. You can't destroy that land and tell them people to go home. But if you go to the melting pot where everybody done moved to, you can destroy that and make everybody go home. You can't destroy home and tell people to go home. You can destroy the place where they hanging out, though, and tell them to go home. Right. Go ahead.
Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All you that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Shoot against her round about. She has given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her. As she has done, do unto her. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handles the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people. And they shall flee everyone to his own land.
So it's going to get to the point where the talk of war is so heavy that, all right, people start saying, all right, it's time to go. It's time to go. And there was a time that people could say whatever they wanted to say. People wasn't afraid. We talking about that this talk going to get so interesting that people going to start leaving. Go ahead.
Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria has devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the El of Israel. Behold, I'll punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I'll bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan. and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the lawlessness of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none, and the sins of Yehuda, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod. Waste and utterly destroy after them, says Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken?
Hammer of the whole earth. They call a global cop. She go in every land telling them, no, you can't do this. Regardless as to what they're doing in their own land, they go to police everybody else's. Go ahead.
How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for you, and you are also taken, O Babylon, and you was not aware. You are found and also caught, because you have striven against Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Adonai Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left.
If it's going to get to her storehouses, say, wait a minute, this is all the wealth that she has stored up. Give me that. And if they get to that point where they change the oil from being purchased by dollars, oh boy, it's going down heavy at that point. Go ahead.
Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation.
Jump to verse 32.
And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I'll kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Yehuda were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
They refused to honor the Jubilee. They refused to honor the 7th year. That means the nations have judgment on interest that is due to them. They have interest-bearing judgment. Go ahead.
The Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, says Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her.
All the mingled people. What other nation has mingled people? So much as they call it the melting pot. From every nation. Y'all always say, oh, no. They're going to start to go back home. See, we can say what we want to say about people that talk about how proud they are to be American, but if you go in their house, you'll see a crest on the wall. Them people know where they come from in Europe. You might hear them talking all that America. They know exactly where they come from if they had to go back. That's why they named this place after Europe. You got York, they made New York. We don't understand Birmingham, all these places. They mimic the names of where they from. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 2.
Man, didn't we go to London without leaving this country?
So what?
I said, didn't we go to London without leaving this country?
You did. It was like it's a London in United States. Oh yeah, they got all kind stuff named after other places. Deuteronomy chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 26 through 37.
And I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kadeth-moth unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, with words of peace, saying, let me pass through your land. I'll go along by the highway. I will neither turn onto the right hand nor to the left.
Now, we got to understand now, you're talking about a great multitude of people trying to get to their destination. See, we just like to imagine ourselves, we're gonna leave Georgia, you know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna wake up one day, we're gonna be right in Israel, brother. Oh yeah? How do you suppose that gonna happen? Is this like a fairy tale dream? Right. Go ahead.
You shall sell me meat for money, that I may eat, and give me water for money, that I may drink. Only I will pass through on my feet. As the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and the Moabites, which dwell in Ar, did unto me, until I shall pass over Jordan into the land which Yahweh our El gives us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, would not let us pass by him, for Yahweh Elohim hardened his spirit, and made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into your hand, as appeareth this day. And Yahweh said unto me, behold, I have begun to give Sihon and his land before you. Begin to possess, that you may inherit his land.
So then in some situations, Yahweh is making the people come against you because he's delivering that unto you. Now let's go to Numbers chapter 20. Numbers chapter 20, and we want to read verses 14 through 21.
Verse 14. And Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith your brother Israel, you knoweth all the travail that has befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto Yahweh, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and has brought us forth out of Egypt, and behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of your border. Let us pass, I pray you, through your country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells.
We won't eat none of the other places that look, we're about what? Look, we ain't drink. We just want to come through. Go ahead.
We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed your borders. And Edom said unto him, you shall not pass by me, lest I come out against you with the sword.
Have we ever considered that? When we talking about getting to these places, but you got to go through a place, and they said, no, you ain't coming through here. Go ahead.
You know, brother, there's a trip from here to Jamaica. And from day to day, the length of that trip can change depending on what Cuba says. The shortest way is to fly over Cuba and reach Jamaica. Day to day, they have to check in with Cuba to see if they can fly over. And there's days when they tell them, no, fly around.
Interesting.
Verse 19. And the children of Israel said unto him, we'll go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of your water, then I'll pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, you shall not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him.
All right. So then now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35. See, sometimes a move can be made that seals a deal for eternity. See, sometimes we do what we can because it's in our power to do it. Not knowing, no. You done sealed your fate. So we have to think about it. All the Rahab the harlot, all she did was hid the spies. But that one deed got her whole family secure. One deed. And sometimes one deed can turn around and reject your entire family. Ezekiel chapter 35. Let's start at verse 1.
More of the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus says the Adonai, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against you, and I will stretch out my hand against you, and I'll make you most desolate. I will lay your cities waste, and you shall be desolate, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Because you have had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their lawlessness had an end. Therefore, as I live, says the Adonai, I will prepare you unto blood, and blood shall pursue you. Sith you has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue you.
In other words, they're going to be fighting all the time. And on every corner, it's always going to be a possible war. Right. Yahweh said, I'm making that because you have always loved blood. You're going to always be in an altercation. Go ahead.
Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returns. And I'll fill his mountains with his slain men. In your hills, and in your valleys, and in all your rivers, shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I'll make you perpetual desolations, and your city shall not return. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. Because you have said, These two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. Therefore, as I live, says the Adonai, I will even do according to your anger, and according to your envy, which you have used out of your hatred against them, and I'll make myself known among them when I have judged you. And you shall know that I am Yahweh, and that I have heard all your blasphemies which you have spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They're laid desolate, they're given us to consume. Thus, with your mouth you have boasted against me.
You have boasted against me. They're talking about us, but he says you have boasted against me. There's so many people that don't understand that it's Yahweh that they're speaking against. They think that they're speaking against a people or a man, but they are speaking against Yahweh, and he is going to hold them accountable. Go ahead.
And have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus says the Adonai, when the whole earth rejoices, I will make you desolate.
But isn't that right? The first shall be last, the last shall be first. Wait a minute. You had all the money in the world. When I set forth peace on the earth, I'm taking all the money that you done had. You done set yourself up high. Now you're going to be low. What did it say? They said, when the whole thing about Lazarus, they said, let me go warn my brother. No. Remember now. You had your good things in your time. This brother was poor. Now he is going to be able to live good, and you going to have to deal with the fruit of your dealings. Now it's time for you to deal with punishment. He already went through his punishment. He got his punishment first. Go ahead.
As you did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto you. You shall be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahweh.
All right, let's go to Obadiah chapter 1. We got one more thing we're going to read after Obadiah.
Important.
It's a hard one to find, boy. That one page right there, boy. That one page run from you, don't it? Hey, boy, you think you got it, then you be like, is it running from me? I thought I saw it. Mm-hmm. Obadiah chapter 1 and started at verse 1.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus says Yahweh Elohim concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, you, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, thence will I bring you down, says Yahweh. If thieves came to you, if robbers by night, how are you cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of your confederacy have brought you even to the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you and prevailed against you. They that eat your bread have laid a wound under you. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, says Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And your mighty men, O T-man, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of Mount Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For your violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever.
You shall be cut off forever. Certain situations where Yahweh said, I'll give you an opportunity. There's other things he said, oh, no. You crossed the line. You crossed the line that ain't never going to be erased. That line is going to forever be there. We're going to have a problem. There's going to be a separation between you and I. Go ahead.
In the day that you stoodeth on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even you was as one of them. But you should not have looked on the day of your brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Yehudah in the day of the destruction, neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yes, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Right, you shouldn't have touched their stuff. You thought you had power over them, and you were putting your hand on their stuff. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. That right there, you're going to have to pay for. You might have thought you got away with that. You might have thought that you was getting by with something because maybe it's been a little time. But you put your hands on their substance, and you shouldn't have done that. Go ahead.
Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should you have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be done unto you. Your reward shall return upon your own head. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yes, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel possessed that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's.
And the kingdom shall be Yahweh's. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 2. See, sometimes it's good to lose power for a minute, to be in a predicament, because then you get to see what's all around you. This is when people are at their boldest, when they think that you are at your weakest. Then you get to hear some things. See, when things are going good and you got certain power, you find out, everybody, treat you like a friend. Sometimes you need to lose a little something, and then some people tell you how they really feel. Then Yahweh give you your stuff back. But guess what? They can't unsay them words. No. You already told me what you feel about me. No. When you thought I was at my weakest, when you thought I was done, see, when you thought for surely they about to fail now, you uttered all your heart. You can't unheart it. It already came out. Now Yahweh restore you, put you back on your feet. Now people want to be like, I didn't mean that, what I had said. Now y'all, you meant it. See, my elder told me, let me tell you something, when somebody show you who they are, do me a favor and believe them. Let somebody think they got the winning numbers of lotto. And they go in that job and they tell everybody where to put it, where to shove it, and where to keep it. Until they realized that was the wrong day numbers that they were looking at.
Oh, that was Tuesday night numbers.
You can't go and unsay that stuff. Oh, it's hard.
You know that. Excuse me, manager, can I talk to you for a second? You know that stuff I said about your mama. I didn't. You know, I really love you. Is your mama making those cookies again?
No. You can't unsay that stuff. It's been said now. Right? He puts you in a position to utter all your heart. See, people don't understand when they being slick, so is Yahweh. Yahweh being slick too. So whereas you might be fighting a situation and you trying to get, out from up under something, and Yahweh like, no. I don't want you to win right now. Because I need to show you something. I need to show you who really cares for you. Some people can only care for you when you're winning. You need to lose sometime. You don't really know who's on your team if you win and everybody celebrates at the championship. But when you lose 2 in a row, all of a sudden the team start breaking down. The defense fighting the offense. They blaming each other for the loss. Now you see who really on the team. He's got to make it rain sometime. If he make it sun all the time, I'm telling you, there's some people that you got hanging on your arm and you think they on your team. They ain't even in the same league as you. They can't be on your team. But you need some rain to prove that. Go ahead, brother.
Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 1. I lifted up mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, Whither goeth you? And he said unto me, To measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him, and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, says Yahweh, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho, come forth, and flee from the land of the north, says Yahweh. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, says Yahweh.
Wait a minute, wait. Ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, says Yahweh. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven. You ain't went to one place. And just so let's bring this home a little bit. So we deal with Babylon, and we said the daughter of Babylon. Okay. Y'all do understand when they had the coronation for the king, you know, he had 50 crowns. You do understand that all 50 of them places is an extension of Babylon, right? Oh, okay. Read, brother.
Deliver yourself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me on to the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye.
See, he might have paused. All right. But he said, look here. They put their hands on you. They took your stuff. They tried to deceive you. No. I'm taking care of that business. You can't even go and talk to Yahweh for them.
Yahweh, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Boy, move. Boy, move. Now, I'm about to swing. I can hit them and you, or just hit them.
Moving now.
Thank you. Go ahead.
For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of you, says Yahweh. And many nations shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people.
Right. These are the people that survive judgment, though. See, all the ones that have done their dirt and they've made merchandise of the children of Israel, they're going to have to suffer the judgment. The ones that's left get to come and join. Go ahead.
And I'll dwell in the midst of you, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. And Yahweh shall inherit Yehudah, his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before Yahweh, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation.
And when a God is raised up out of his holy habitation, you might want to make sure you keep your mouth. See, you don't want to just jump in front of a certain level of power with your mouth running. That power is something that's so strong. That's why the children of Israel took off running when Yahweh started talking. He is raised up. Be careful how you move. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.